In today's lecture, we are going to discuss a review of literature. First of all, we will see what is meant by review of literature, some definitions, and its importance. The review of literature is a summary of all reviews from various research literatures related to the current study carried out by researcher. It helps to discover what is already known about the research problem and what more has to be done. So, in a review of literature, we came to know what is already known about the research problem and what new dimensions that you can do with the help of your research, what more has to be done. According to the Abdullah and Levin, the material gathered in literature review should be included as a part of research data since it influences the problem and research design. It can be used to compare the results and findings for the current study. So, according to these scientists, Abdullah and Levine, the material gathered of literature review should be considered as the part of research data. Whenever we do the research, we need to gather some data, and the data from the literature review should be considered as the research data. The literature review is an assessment of body of research that addresses a research question. An organized written presentation of what has been published on a topic by the scholars. This is another definition. An account of what has been published by accredited scholars and researchers. This is the definition by Taylor. So, literature review is an assessment of the research that addresses the research question. So, what are the characteristics of the good quality review of literature? So, first we came to know that literature review is the study of previously published research papers or articles or any new theory from the previously studied research. And from literature review, we came to know that what has to be done and what have did previously and what you can do in upcoming days. So characteristics of good quality research and review of literature are: a good review of literature must be comprehensive. It should include up-to-date references. It should be systematic. It should be reproducible. It should be free from bias. It should be well written. It should be in the form of sum of its part. It should be clearly searched and selected. Accurate references should be given in the review. So, a review of literature should be up to date. It should be free from bias. It should be clearly searched and selected. These are the good quality characteristics of review of literature. What is the purpose of review of literature? So, review of literature helps to identify what is already known about a research problem. It helps to build on previous knowledge. Many published research studies contain recommendation for future research, from which we can get idea of new research study. So, future work is also important in the previous papers. It makes researchers know what research has already been done in a particular area, so has to avoid the duplication. It is necessary to narrow the problem to be studied, identify questions a body of research does not answer. It helps researchers to get acquainted with the relevant theory, strategies, tools, and instruments for conducting the research. It is very important because researchers came to know the different methodologies, different theories, strategies, and tools through the review of literature. It helps to understand the different ways of conducting the research study. It helps to identify comparative data, so helps in interpretation and discussion of previous study. Now, what are the sources of literature review? Literature sources may be classified as primary and secondary source. Primary sources of literature review is written by the original researcher. It is research publication written by the person or people who conducted the research. For example, research articles, unpublished theses, dissertations, personal diary, and handwritten records and reports are the primary sources of literature of review. Now, what is meant by secondary source? These are second-hand information prepared or written by someone other than the original author. For example, newspapers, book chapters, television, radio, magazines, Wikipedia, or journals. The third kind of source is tertiary source. These are excellent sources that can provide general background information to help narrow or broaden the focus of a topic. Primary source. Literature review mostly relies on primary sources, that means research reports, which are description of studies written by the researchers. A primary sources is written by person who developed the theory or conducted the research. For example, a nursing research article. A credible literature review reflects the use of mainly primary resources. So there are different research paper and they include the original theory that is uh, experimented by the researcher, and these are the primary sources of research. The secondary source research documents are description of studies prepared by someone other than the original researcher. So these primary sources are used by many researchers and they also do the study and prepare the documents or descriptions. They are written by people other than the individuals who developed the theory or conducted the research. So there are two types of researchers who developed and conducted the research, and the second type of researchers that use these primary sources and give their opinion about that research, or they maybe find out some faults in that research. So the second type of researchers use the secondary source of documents. The secondary sources may be used when primary sources are not available, or if researchers want external opinion on an issue or problem, or even the result of their own research. Now, sources of literature review are magazines and newspapers, electronic database, books, journals, conference papers, thesis, encyclopedia and dictionary, and research reports. Uh, First kind of source using the electronics. So, electronic sources. Computer assisted literature search has revolutionized the review of literature. Before the era of computer, it is not to go and to find the research papers easily. We have to go to the different laboratories and libraries to read and to find out the research papers. But nowadays, electronic media and computer and of course internet uh, make it easy to access the number of research papers very easily. These searches, however, for a variety of reasons, may not provide the desired references. Electronic literature search through web may be very useful, but sometimes it can be time consuming and unpredictable because there are many websites and web pages that can lead to information overload and confusion. So electronic equipments are generating very much data, all of you. So sometimes what happens, these web pages can lead to the information that may create overload or confusion. However, currently it is one of the most important sources of literature research. Then printed sources. Printed research summary may be located from published abstract such as research abstract, Dissertation abstract. International master abstract internationals. References of other printed sources may be located through many research databases. Journals. There are several national and international journals which can be used to review the research. These are the steps of literature review. We have to choose the topic. We have to find out the databases and resources. We have to search and refine it. We have to read the research paper and analyze it. And we have to write the review. So a literature review is an account of previous efforts, and achievements of researchers on a phenomenon. It helps to compare with other previous study. A good review of literature is foundation for good research. Thank you.